More than half of American teens have admitted to cheating in school. It is a sobering reality, especially at this time of year, as many students are taking the SATs and applying to colleges. So tonight, we are getting an inside look at how schools and also law enforcement are cracking down on cheating. Joe Waldman reports in a new Fox doc.
Kids are buying, essays for college.
If you plagiarize, you will certainly get caught.
Do you really want to go through your life as a cheater?
I don't believe in cheating. I think it's not moral, it's wrong.
But not all 15-year-olds think like Gabriel. For some, the pressure to succeed supersedes any moral or ethical code of conduct. And because of that, there is temptation to cheat. And one New York school knows about this all too well.
How intense is the pressure to succeed at Great Neck North High School?
It's intense, but at the same time, you got to learn to cope with everything, cope with your stress.
But instead of coping with the stress, some capitalized on it. 3 years ago here at Great Neck North High, then 19-year-old recent graduate Samuel Eshikoff was charged with taking the SATs for other students for a fee, getting paid up to $3,600 per exam. The money rolled in fast and furious. Prosecutors say Eshikoff took the SAT for at least 15 students over a 3-year period. It turns out there were other test takers and many more paying for the illegal service. The school eventually found out and brought the scandal to the attention of Kathleen Rice, newly elected to Congress after spending years as a Nassau County District Attorney.
If you looked at the fact pattern of how this cheating occurred, right? You had one kid who was impersonating another kid, and he was able to do that because he made a fake ID. He signed a form saying, "This is who I am." That's criminal impersonation.
District Attorney Rice tells us back in 2011, her office identified 55 cases of cheating, 20 of which were prosecuted. Today, years later, a private guidance counselor who advises students here at Great Neck North High School tells us the pressure to succeed is as intense as ever.
If I don't do this, this, and this, then I won't. You can fill in the blank. Then I won't get an A. Then I won't get into this college. Then I won't have the choices that I want. Then my parents are going to be mad at me. Because it does vary. The pressures come from different places for different kids.
And while that pressure to succeed at Great Neck North is as palpable as ever, a lot has changed nationwide when it comes to taking the SAT. The College Board runs the SAT from its headquarters in Manhattan and has stepped up its ID requirements. Rice tells us students are now asked to show their IDs more than once and must write the name of their high school down.
Now kids have to upload a picture at the time that they apply for the test. That picture goes on their admission ticket that they have to show when they go that day. There's no more same-day registration. There are spot checks during the test. There was not that accountability before. So that reform was nationwide. And now you don't have honest kids taking a backseat to cheaters.
But there might be more cheaters out there than you ever imagined. The nonprofit Josephson Institute in Los Angeles surveyed more than 20,000 students nationwide for its 2012 report card on the ethics of American youth. 49% said they never cheat. 51% admit to cheating at least once, and more than half of those said they cheated 2 or more times.
It's hard to call it an epidemic. I mean, people haven't died from it, but the fact of the matter is it's become a cultural toxicity. In other words, that this notion of cheating being something that's acceptable, that you can get away with, is so prevalent.
The same survey asked if a person has to lie or cheat sometimes to succeed. 64% said no, but 36% said yes. And it appears some of those who said yes are also saying yes to getting research papers off the internet.
There are places on the web where you could go relatively easily and purchase a paper, a research paper, paper for college, paper on a specific topic, almost about anything. Some are free and some you pay for.
One site we found even pitches the perks of purchasing as allowing you to then focus on more important life matters. The site told us what they do is perfectly legal. For students tempted to use websites like this, Mayapack High School is making sure it's not happening in their school.
This 100%, does that imply that it's plagiarized or it's just a match?
It's a match.
12th grade Mayapack English teacher Amy Mahoney and her fellow teachers use this software called Turnitin to catch cheaters. Turnitin builds itself as being able to quickly compare a student's text to a vast database of 45+ billion pages of digital content and over 337 million submissions from other students stored in its own archive, as well as more than 130,000 professional, academic, and commercial journals and publications. The company tells us in the last 5 years it has been placed in about 1/4 of the nation's high schools, mostly smaller suburban districts. A handful of New York City schools use it, but not the entire district. Like other academic institutions, Mayapack pays a licensing fee to use Turnitin. They wouldn't tell us how much, but we're eager to tell us the software snags cheaters.
Now that we have the website, plagiarizing or cheating or using someone's work as your own, all of that is essentially a non-issue. It is unheard of for a student to try to get through the site. Now that we've had it, it's just a complete preventative measure against plagiarism. They really don't try.
Other academic institutions are taking a completely different approach to curb cheating. To get into Manhattanville College in Purchase, New York, you don't need an outstanding standardized test score. In fact, you don't need one at all.
Manhattanville's test optional policy essentially allows students to it doesn't require students to submit their test scores, SAT and ACT scores, and that is not the sole determining factor in their admissions decision.
Instead, the vice president of Manhattanville College, Nikhil Kumar, says admissions officers look at prospective students' overall academic records and school community involvement, things like being on the student council.
A test score is not always a good indicator of how a student is performing academically in high school.
Maybe at Manhattanville, but for most students, the reality is solid test scores are still a big deal, and therefore, so is the temptation to cheat.
If kids want to cheat, there's a whole host of ways to do it.
The kind of extreme thing that happened in Great Neck, I mean, literally hiring an impersonator, that's criminality. That's the kind of idea of almost organized crime. But there are so many easier ways to cheat.
In the old days, people didn't get caught. Schools would handle this as an administrative matter. It's a criminal matter. But it's important to send the message to the honest kids that we are going to protect you, and we are not going to force you to take a back seat to kids who are cheating and cutting corners.
You see out of the corner of your eye, you may see an answer, but at the same time, you're never just, like, you have to have integrity in yourself, you know what I mean?
Pride and integrity, better than any software or admissions process. Perhaps the best antidote to cheating that exists. Joel Waldman, Fox 5 News.
And Eshigoff's attorney tells us his case was sealed. A spokesperson for the district attorney says the same was true for others who were charged. Meanwhile, administrators at Great Neck North did not return repeated calls to participate in that story.
But this conversation continues on our digital platforms. We've got complete results of that study of student ethics on our website, myfoxny.com. When you get there, you can weigh in on our Facebook page. What should happen to students who cheat in school?